Welcome back to my channel, Sticks Tricks. I am Sticks, and today I'm showing you how to install ender fender wells in the Traxxas TRX4 Sport. From the factory, you can see it does not come with the inner fender wells. I've installed one so far, and these do a great job of really sealing off the inside of the truck to dirt and debris. A lot less mud and dirt and stuff will get on the inside of the truck, so it's less to clean, keeps your electronics in better condition. And these have ports here and one on the other side for what they call rock lights, where it's these LED lights that mount in these that shine down on your tires, so when you're driving at night you can see what you're crawling over, which is an added bonus. So first I'll start with showing you how to do the front. The tools you'll need for this job are a 2.5 millimeter Allen and a 2 millimeter Allen. So now this is the passenger side front of the truck, which means it's the right front, which you'll see is marked here. And I'll show you the screws that you have to remove. There's 4 screws in total on this side. So there's your shock mounting screw here. There's one, sorry, working around the light here. There's another screw here, which mounts your shock hoop to your body mount. And then there's 2 screws here and here, which mount it to the frame rail. Make sure to keep in mind where your screws go, as they are all different lengths. The shortest ones, the 2 shortest ones, are what connect here and here to the frame rail. Your longest one goes through the top of the shock, and your medium-sized one goes just behind the top of the shock, which mounts this shock mount to your body mount. So now once you have all those screws out, keep in mind that the front of the truck's going to drop a little bit. You just pull the shock out, let that dangle, wiggle this out, there you have that out. Now we have the new fender liner. What you're going to want to do is take the shock and slot it into the top of this, and then you're going to lift up the truck, and this should pop into your body mount right here. There's a little tab this will slide into, which will then align these with your frame. And keep in mind, this part right here has to go up onto your chassis, or it's not going to fit right. So now with that in place, take your 2 shortest screws right here, screw these in. Now before you snug these up, you can see this is still loose. Take your medium screw and put it on this back hole, securing your fender mount to your body mount. So now that you have this screw in securing your fender mount to your body mount, now you can go ahead and snug these 2 up. And the reason you snug these up last is because if you snug these up and this is misaligned, you're going to have a real hard time getting this screw screwed in to the other side. So now you snug these up. And lastly, you slot the top of your shock into the top cup here. You can see the screw will go in right here. And this takes a few tries to line this up. It's kind of a blind hole up in there. It's hard to see aligning the shock to the shock mount. So this will probably take you a few tries. So once you get your screw through the top of the shock and tighten down, this is a note for the other side. For the left front side, there's one additional screw you have to take off, which is this right here. You see right here, there's this bracket. That's a stabilizer bar, or a panhard bar for the solid axle. That is only on that side. So you can see here, this is the old shock tower from the right side. And this is the old shock tower from the left side. You can see it has that additional bracket. So from the factory, they come on the bottom hole. So remember just to screw that stabilizer bar back in on the bottom hole. And that's the only additional step on the other side. Now, onto the battery tray that mounts like so, in between. You may have to press it in there because it's a tight fit. So now that mounts between these fender wells, which gives you, if you want to run a shorty battery and put your weight bias to the front, that's what that's for. I also think it kind of helps with bracing as well. So now these 4 screw holes, you can see the other one there. This is what these 4 included screws are for in your packet. So now screw those down, and that's all there is to it, to installing the battery tray in the front. Here's the battery tray installed with all 4 screws, which are 2.5 millimeter, by the way. This is the only part of the job where you need a 2.5 millimeter Allen. So now with that being done, we can move on to the back. The rear is where things get a little bit more complicated. If you see here, we have the fender well. So with that mounted on there, it actually changes your rear shock body mount. So it has an included new bracket for it. So if you can see with this mounted about where it's going to go, this isn't going to work with the stock bracket for the body mount. So that's where it comes with the new one. So to start off, same thing as the front. You want to remove this screw, get my camera to focus here, the shock top screw right here, and the screw that holds the shock tower to the shock body mount, to the just the body mount. So you're gonna remove the same thing on the other side, but also you're gonna remove this screw right here on the chassis, which secures the current body mount to the chassis. And there's one screw down here. You can see I have the Allen driver in it. There's one screw right here in the bottom of this mount that you're going to remove as well. So once you remove all of that, you'll see what to do next in the video. Alright, so I'm partway through. As you can see, I have the body mount off. So once you get this off, you're going to want to undo these 2 Allen bolts and slide this body mount out of the bracket, because then that body mount will slide into this new bracket which links the 2 fender wells. So all I have left to do is take out these 2 screws on each side which secure the shock towers to the chassis. All the rest are out. Now install the new fenders in their place. As a note for the screw orientation, you'll pull 2 of these longer screws out of the two holes for the old shock mount, and you can see the new two holes that secure the shock mount, the fender well to the chassis, they're wider. So you're using the farther back hole in the chassis for the rear screw mount. So this longer screw that you pulled out of this hole for the old mount is now going to go here. And as you can see, I have the screws laid out here. So this shorter one, you can see the difference there. That wasn't supposed to happen. Well, you can see it's shorter. The shorter one now will go in this blank hole to plug that up. So make sure you switch these two screws and put the longer one in the fender mount and the shorter one in the blank hole. So now once you put your screws in the chassis here, these three screws with the shorter one being in the blank hole, I put in the screw to mount the shock. And you have different positions here to that you can fool with for how the truck handles, and with it changes how it articulates and how it'll crawl. So I'm going to fool with that later, but for now I put it in this hole, which puts it straight up, which is how it was factory. You can see it lines up with the old shock tower that's still on the truck. So now do this same thing on the other side, and I'll resume the video once the other side is on. Now that your fenders are on, take the new body mount. So it's going to be pointing to the front of the truck. Where this protrudes out, this will be pointing forward towards the front of the truck. So this goes in there. You'll use your two medium long screws to now secure this. Now that you have your new mount secured in, take your body posts. So beforehand, this arrow was pointing the forward of the truck. Now with this new mount, you have to reverse this, which slightly offsets this so it lines up. So this arrow points to the back of the truck. So now you slide these in and adjust them to the correct height. So I've confirmed that you run these body posts all the way down for the stock body. That is the correct setting for where the stock body was at to line up correctly. Now as a side note, your old body mount, this center screw here, you will be left over with that. That is okay. So that used to go in this screw hole right here. And that's okay to leave open. You can see there's another one open right beside it. So that is no longer used. So now here's your truck with all the fenders installed. So now you'll have, the inside will be cleaner. You have the option of installing your rock lights, and it's a more scale look. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.